everybody, Scout Crafty here again. TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. You made it through another week. And well, actually, I'm filming this on Wednesday, and we are in the midst of a blizzard that just started here in the Northeast, and you could see it's pretty windy, and it's pretty the snow is just starting to accumulate. But I have to tell you something. I've always, ever since I was a kid, have always enjoyed a good a good blizzard, especially when you're a kid, you know. I prefer a blizzard over a hurricane or anything that has to do with water, because water creates a lot of damage. But you know, with a blizzard, you know, one thing I always found about a blizzard that I find, I live in an old house, and old houses tend to be a little bit drafty and whatnot, and right now, you know, the 45, 50 mile an hour winds, and it's cold and it gets drafty. But all of a sudden, as the blizzard comes into effect and the snow builds up, it seals up all the cracks because the snow gets into all them cracks, and all of a sudden the house becomes like real. It's like a modern house. It's all tight. So in another hour or so, you'll see that everything changes in the house. It's like it's quiet, and there's no drafts because all the snow has filled the cracks. So I don't know. I always like that part. Couple things to talk about today. First of all, had a great discussion about the burner valve that you know, the burner boiler drain valve that everybody was chiming in on. Thanks very much for that. And I want to pass off some information on one of my favorite valves, the quarter turn valve. I thought we'd talk about that real quick before we get started. Now, I was saying how much I enjoy these quarter turn valves because they are very durable, and they do, it's a ball valve, and there's a little ball in there with a hole in it, and when you turn it 90 degrees, it lets the water flow. But one thing you have to be careful of with these valves is, you know, with an old house, or really any house, when you put these on, you should turn them on slowly like this, very slowly, and when you turn it off, very slowly. And I'll tell you why that's important. Now, I like all types of hammers, as you know, but the one hammer that I do not like is something called a water hammer. And what a water hammer is, especially with some houses have it worse than others, but older houses, newer houses, kind of, most of them have something called an expansion tank, or and it stops the water hammer from happening. But if you shut off a valve real quick, especially in some older houses, you'll hear a bang, you know. And what that is the pressure from the water. When you open up a valve, and the pressure drops throughout the whole system because the water is coming out the valve, and then you shut that off abruptly and quickly, the pressure expands so quickly that it shakes the pipes, and that gives you the water hammer. And that's where you got to be careful, especially with an older house. And it's a good thing to teach you know, the kids and everything in the house, that, you know, you always turn off certain valves like the quarter turn valves, because they shut the water off so quickly that can lead to water hammer. So it's something a lot of people don't realize, but it does put pressure on. So you might not even realize, but it could create a problem on the second floor or the first floor, something far away from where you're shutting the valve off, because it puts so much pressure in the system. Good thing to know. Again, I'm not a plumber, but it is something to think about. So when you have those quarter turn valves in an older house especially, turn them off slowly. You know, it's fun to turn them quick, you know, shut them off. It feels like a guillotine action, but turn them off very slow, because that'll help ease the pressure build up in the pipe when the pressure comes back. Good little tip there. Okay, today the other day I was on Instagram, and I saw my good friend Jack's Rusty Gold, and Jack, you know, I loved his work, and he was looking for ways to store his tools, and he happened to show a picture, and I saw a beautiful pair of shears that he did. You see them with the red in there, the accent? And I said, I love that. I love that. So I came down here, said, I got a bunch of shears. This is just some of them. I said, I want to do that today. I want to clean up a pair of shears. I'm just in the mood. Plus, my buddy John, Right On with John Crane, did a beautiful tutorial on how to sharpen scissors. So if you didn't see that, I'll put a link in the description for that. But I said, which one of these do I feel like doing? This one here was given to me by Brian Paine from New Hampshire. and Plymouth, New Hampshire, and these are nice old Pexto, so maybe we'll clean these up, but there's no accent parts in here, you know? Whereas something like this or this here has, you know, you could put the accents in there, you see, and it really makes it, and it has that different, let's do this one and this one, okay, for today. Oh, it's just so much fun to have down here. Okay, these come apart very easily. Just I used a ratchet for the bigger one, a nut driver for the smaller one, and now we take a look here and see if there's, you know, anything we have to be weary of or anything. But first we're going to take it down to the wire brush. I'm going to see if this paint comes off easily with the wire brush. If not, I'll use paint stripper, but I think it's already flaking off a little bit, so I think that'll come right off. And then let's come back and see what it looks like. Okay, here's our post-wire brush evaluation. Now, a couple things to talk about here. You could see here that around the handles here, you see that big forging seam here. Now, anytime your hands are in the area of around here, you want that smooth, and these lines got to go. And also you can see they look almost, you know, primitive with the, I'm sure they just ground it out, maybe use a die grinder or something just to take off some initial flashing, and then that's it. They dip it in some paint. This one here, you could see it over here too. You could see what it looks like as far as, it's a strange look over here. I don't know what they did, a belt, a stone, I don't know what they used, a sanding flap sander back then. You can see here I didn't take off the rest of the patina here because I'm going to go over it with the flap disc, so there's no reason in wasting double time, because you can see what's underneath here. The patina, you can see it's got some marks and stuff. We'll try and address that. Now, you don't want to go nuts. This has usually a concave section here on these. If you were to, let's hold the straight edge. Okay, you see we got a straight edge over here. Now look over here. You see that little light there underneath the straight edge? There's a slight concave to these blades, and that's so that they don't wear on each other. You know, it's made like that. And you could see the temper line, because this is hardened here, you know, very hard. But this is all decorative here. This don't matter, but it's the blade you got to be careful with. And we'll just, you know, maintain the angle. Like I said, that John Crane did a fantastic job on his tutorial on how to sharpen scissors. But you know, you just maintain the same angle, but always remember you don't want to flatten this area out. There is a dip to it. One thing I just noticed, somebody did mark these scissors with a four little file marks here and one on this side. So I don't, maybe that's to mark it so that they know which one was theirs, but that's interesting. That was done by an owner. Now, one thing I find fascinating is that at the height of their popularity, Pexto made over 25 different styles and different sizes in each style of shears. Shears were used for everything from cutting leather, linoleum, rope, everything you can imagine. They were a very popular tool years ago. Our tool was the number 49, which you could see illustrated here. And what's interesting is how they did paint or blue the handles. You could see it was quite a bit of painting or bluing on each handle. Okay, now here's where you sit and you think about, you say, what do I want to do? Where do I want to put paint? Do I want to put paint? Do I want to do what? You know, some of you tell you, there's a little voice inside you saying, you know, it looks good just the way it is steel. But, you know, then you say there's a little bit of color, it really makes it pop. And so that's when you go upstairs, you have dinner, you think about it, and then you come back down and you finish it. Now, I don't usually use grease on a lot of things, but this is something I like to use grease on, and that's because these pivot pins, okay? These pins in here, pivot, the head pivots in that little pocket there, and then these two halves will pivot on each other like this. So what you have to do, it's important, put a little dab of grease, just a little bit here, and a little dab of grease in this pocket before you assemble it, so this way it stays lubricated. Now, the reason I don't mind grease in this is because you're not dealing with a lot of dust and dirt and things like that that can get into the grease, and this way it'll stay clean. And we're calling this project done. You know, shears are pretty hard to deal with because they're forged, they're so tempered so hard. But, you know, we got all the patina off. Everything looks good. Let me show you these one at a time. Okay, first off, we have the Pexto. See that Pexto? Was able to keep the name. And I believe this is a number 49, you could see there. And everything, you know, I smoothed out every edge on here. This is, because I use these a lot, and you want to be able to throw these in a drawer. I would love to have painted the top handles like a candy red, but the problem is that gets chipped off, you know. So I polished them down. You see that, you know, and it's very comfortable, very smooth in the hand. And again, like I said, you throw these in a drawer or something like that, these always will get chipped up. That's why paint belongs in recessed areas, things like that, where, you know, it won't come off. Let's check these out, how they work. You know, sharpen them up a little bit. This is just on cardboard, but if it'll cut cardboard like this, you know it'll go through sheet metal and tin very easily, and it's just super smooth. It cuts like butter. I mean, it's just really very sharp cuts, very nicely done. And these are just terrific. You know, these will last. They're meant to last a lifetime. One of the few tools that are meant to last a real lifetime. Okay, next up we have the Bluebird, number 207. Bluebird, it was painted blue. Obviously, I took that off and made it some Scoutcrafter red. But you can see here, Bluebird 207. See the forged steel and 7-inch on both sides. You know, that's the way paint belongs, because that won't come out. You know, that'll be there for the life of the tool. And this has that twisted front that, you know, is very nice and very easy to keep a straight line. Again, polished up the handles, took off those forge lines that were there before. And you could see how these cut. These are just a dream to cut, you could see. And what's nice about this jaw design is that it's very easy to follow a straight line with this jaw design, unlike some other ones where it kind of hides the cut. So, yeah, I've always liked this type, and it's a very lightweight pair, maybe for the Scoutcrafter Junior Toolbox. I don't know, but that's an interesting pair. Here's a pair of whisks I cleaned up, a while ago, a long time ago, and you can see it's got that pocket. I should have put some, well, I mean, I can always do, but that Scoutcrafter red is what belongs in there, because, you know, it's recessed, and you can see here, somebody punched their initials in there, WBC, but they did a nice job. It's not bad. And, you know, whisks always make good cutters. You know, their steel is impeccable. Really nice. Here are some nice, I always like these. These here are lever or compound action shears, and that gives you an extra leverage. You know, you can see how that works on both of them. Always found these to be pretty interesting, and you know, a collectible type of tool. But I'm going to restore these, but I want to, you know, I've always put these off because I wanted to make sure that I do these up right. Okay. In closing, that was a lot of fun. I always like to do shears and scissors, but they do take a long time because the steel is so hard. And, well, it's about 4 a.m. I'm going to go out there and start shoveling now, because I think it's going to be done in a couple hours. This blizzard didn't pan out to be as bad as they said it was going to be. I don't think we got maybe 6 inches. I don't know. It wasn't bad. And I like to shovel fresh virgin snow before people start walking on it, because you know when you try and shovel after they walk on it, it makes those lumps where the footprints were, and just makes it that much easier to shovel now. So I hope you have a great weekend. Take care now. Bye-bye.